Is my breastfeeding journey coming to an end? The definition of journey is the act of traveling from one place to another. Now, you've already had the journey of pregnancy and delivery, and now the journey of breastfeeding. And I want that journey to last as long as you would like it to. Today, let's go over your breastfeeding journey. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hi, Mommy. My name is Mary Cahill, and I'm a certified lactation counselor. I help mommies like you to be confident and successful in their breastfeeding journey.
If you're saying, I think my breastfeeding journey is coming to an end, don't give up. You can get some help and you can make it through this. I know that there are difficult days. There's difficult days throughout the breastfeeding journey, and you'll get through those. Set small goals. Set a goal to get through the first 3 days. Those are really hard. Then when you make it through those first 3 days, celebrate. You did it. Then when you get through the first 2 months, celebrate that. Set a new goal of 6 months and celebrate that so that you don't get discouraged, because one day is better than no day. So pat yourself on the back when you've gotten to whatever little goal you've set, and you're doing great. And one thing that I tell moms quite often is you're doing better than you think you are, because moms will really second guess themselves and doubt that they're doing things right and that things might not be going well. If you're concerned that baby's not getting enough to eat, remember to count wet diapers. Once your baby is 6 days old or older, they should always have 6 or more wet diapers every 24 hours, and that lets you know that they're getting enough to eat. Baby could be crying, and that could not be a sign of low milk supply. So just keep in mind that there's things that look like a low supply that aren't, but you can count on those wet diapers and weight gain that you're doing great. Find a good support person that can help you to get through the rough days. If you have a friend that gives you the horror stories and says, you're just going to have to get through this no matter what, your nipples are sore and bleeding, you're just going to have to grit your teeth and keep going, that's not helpful. If there's a problem, there should be a solution. You need to figure out what the problem is and find an answer. Find a lactation counselor or that support person that can help you to find that answer. If that's not working, move on and find someone else. There's a couple of studies that say how many percentage of moms that are breastfeeding at a certain point. So if newborn babies in the US, newborn babies tend to be breastfed like 81% of the time. And then usually by about 3 months, it goes down to 50% of those babies are still breastfeeding. And then at 6 months, it goes down to about 30%. And at a year, only about 15% of those babies are still breastfeeding. But you can see it's a big drop at these points. And so from birth to 3 months, there's a big drop. And then 6 months and a year. So you can see that there's some things happening. Sometimes moms want to or need to be done for life circumstances, maybe a health issue, or there's something going on, or they just choose to be done, and that's totally fine. But when a mom says, my breastfeeding journey seems to be about over, if she sounds sad, then there's something we can do to fix that most of the time. So that's what we want to do, help you to fix that. So a newborn baby may have trouble latching right off the bat, but a lot of them will latch right away, look great, and then maybe 24 hours later, not be so great. It may be quite a hard time. Baby's hard to keep awake. Baby's not latching very well, crying a lot, doesn't want to latch. And there's things you may need help to get through those. But that's when a lot of moms just say, I'm just going to go with formula. But if you are wanting to exclusively breastfeed, then I want to help you to get to that. So that's the big time, is that big drop is usually just within a few days. I see the biggest one at about 2 months, the biggest drop. And that is usually because moms might have been pumping a little bit, which you shouldn't pump in the first month. But if you pump before 2 months, even after you nurse baby, you might see, 4 or 8 ounces like after a nursing session. If you don't see that much, that's okay. But a lot of moms see a pretty large amount. But then at around 8 weeks, if mom randomly pumps in between nursing sessions, she might only get drops. So then she's afraid that her milk supply has dropped. But after about 8 weeks, your body's going to adjust down to just what baby's taking out. So that's why you see the drop in how much that you can pump. If you're pumping like an exclusive pumper, if you're pumping while you're away from baby, then you should be able to pump about 1 to 1.5 ounces an hour. So if you pump every 3 hours, you'll usually get around 3 ounces, maybe a little bit more. You need to add stimulation, breast massage. Anyway, back to the problem. So I see at around 2 months, I see a big drop in moms breastfeeding because their confidence goes down because they see this change, and baby goes through a growth spurt, which doesn't mean they need or want more breast milk, but they're fussy, and so that looks like low milk supply. And so that's a big one that I see around 2 months, and then again around 4 months, baby goes through a big growth spurt. They're kind of starting to teeth, even though you won't see teeth usually for quite a few more weeks after that. Their gums hurt from time to time, all those teeth pushing down on their gums. It's very painful. Baby's fussy. Baby's growing so quickly that it hurts to grow so fast. So baby's fussy. They're just going through some big changes. So again, 2 months, 4 months. Those are some big ones. Then we see it again at 6 months. Some big changes in what's going on with baby. Baby may nurse a lot more often during one of these growth spurts and these changes, or they'll want to nurse not very often at all. And either side scares moms and affects her confidence. So again, those wet diapers are a really big indicator. There's other things, but keep track of those wet diapers. Baby 6 days and older should always have 6 or more wet diapers every 24 hours. So again, at 6 months, I kind of see one around 9 months, but not as much. And then when we get to about 11 and 12 months, there's some big changes again. And we see, I see moms, doubt their, question their milk supply and how baby's breastfeeding. Some other things that can affect a little sooner is if you start solids before baby's ready. That can lower your milk supply. If you're away from baby a lot and you're pumping, be sure to add lots of massage to keep your milk supply up. Because when moms see that drop, then they end up, questioning their milk supply. They get scared. If you had a milk supply, you can get it back up. It's slow, and it takes 3 to 5 days to start to see it increase. You might only see another 1/2 ounce in 3 to 5 days, but then it'll slowly get more and more if you're consistent about pumping and massaging. But the very best way to get your milk supply up is by baby at the breast and as often as possible. So I really want you to be secure in your breastfeeding, be, confident in what you're doing. Ask for help if you need it. Find your local lactation counselor or La Leche League. If you're in WIC, there's usually a peer counselor and quite often an IBCLC counselor that will help you with breastfeeding if you need it. And of course, our group asks questions. So we want you to be confident, and I want you to have as long a breastfeeding journey as you want to have. And most of the time we can make that happen. There are so many things that can make a breastfeeding journey come to an end much too soon. Some of those are things like sore nipples, latching issues, slow weight gain, low milk supply, and so many more. If we can discover why these things are happening to you, we can usually get through it together. Remember that your breastfeeding journey is going to look very different from another mom's. Let me know in the comments, how is your breastfeeding journey going? I want to be able to help. I might be able to suggest one of my other videos, or I don't mind answering your questions right here in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and if you'll click on the bell icon, then you'll be notified when my future videos come out, and one of those might help you to have your breastfeeding journey last a little longer. Thanks a lot, Mommy, and remember, you got this.